Hello everyone, my name is Roya, and today I'm going to be telling you about the books that I read in the first half of June. It's actually the first, 1/3 of June or less even, just because this is already a lot of books and I'm actually trading one of them to somebody tomorrow, so I just wanted to go ahead and film this before I had less books to hold up. So anyway, the first book that I read in the first half of June is The Harp of Kings by Juliette Marillier, and I absolutely adored this book. I think it is my favorite of her books. This is about a girl named Livonne who is a spy slash warrior for this organization, kind of, and she has to be a traveling player in this court in order to find out where this magic harp is and what happened to it and all of that stuff. And it is so interesting and just so cool, and I love the characters. They're all really awesome, and just a lot of the stuff that happens in this, there's just so much conflict and everything, and I loved it, and the world building is super clever, and yeah, so I definitely cannot recommend this enough. Please read this book, it is awesome. I also read Fire Logic by Laurie J. Marks. This is actually a queer book about ladies loving ladies, and I didn't even know that when I first started this book. It was only once I had already started reading it and I saw someone mention it on Twitter as a queer book, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know. So that made me really happy. So basically this, I liked this book, but I didn't love it. I think the first half of it was just kind of setting up the plot, and it was fairly boring. The second half got way better, but I think that I feel like it's one of those series where the first book is kind of meh, and then it leads up to better, more things and whatnot, but the characters are awesome. The magic system, despite being your typical elemental magic, is actually really unique in a way, because we see elemental magic all the time, but I feel like in this book it was a very unique take on it. So I definitely do recommend this book. I just didn't love it as much as I was hoping to. The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. This is one of the books that I got at Y'all West. This was one that I wasn't super excited about. It sounded cool-ish, but it wasn't one that I was dying to read or anything like that. But I decided to get to it now because a book reviewer that I know does want it and wants to trade with me, so for a book that I really want. So so I just went ahead and read it now, and even though I wasn't expecting to love this book or anything, it was still super disappointing. So overall, I think the plot was very typical. The characters were very bland, seriously bland. There was nothing attaching me to those characters or anything that happened to them. A lot of the dialogue felt very forced, it was definitely trying to get to a point where someone says something for dramatic effect, but the dialogue that it took to get there every single time was so that wouldn't really be dialogue in that situation, sort of. It was so forced. So much of this story just felt very contrived to me, and I just was not into it. So hopefully more people will like this book more than I did. Hopefully. I just don't think it was for me at all. I also read The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. This is a book that a lot of people have been talking about on BookTube for quite a while. It's about a princess who runs away from home, and she's being followed by a prince and an assassin, and you don't really know from her point of view which one is the prince and which one is the assassin. You know which one it is from their own points of view and whatnot, but from her point of view you don't know which one it is. But to me, I felt like the two dudes were so similar that I really just did not care, and then just overall I found myself not really caring about anything in this story at all. So I do think it was good. I do think that some of the world building was really interesting. I do think that the main character was kind of interesting a little bit, but I really just think that just the overall plot was so typical and so boring. I was just not into it. So I also read Consorting with Dragons this month. This is a queer book about a dude who has to go to court and find a husband because his father, despite being a noble, just kind of gambled away all of their money and whatnot. And he gets there and he falls in love with the king because he doesn't know who he is, and it just spirals out of control from there. And it is a really good book. I absolutely loved the romance in this. It was really adorable. I do think that the first maybe third of this book was kind of boring because a lot of it was just no, I'm gonna marry this person, no, I'm gonna marry this person, and it's just a bunch of people showing up at court trying to marry whoever's the the like person with the most prestige kind of, and all kinds of shit. And so since like this dude is the main character is such like a country dude, and he's so not a typical person who would be there at all, he gets like made fun of a lot and stuff like that, so that's kind of entertaining. But and there's a lot more conflict like past the first third of the book, so it did end up being a really awesome book, and I definitely recommend it. Unfortunately, what goes up must come down. So I did DNF a book this month, and that was The Eldritch Heart. This is about a princess and her serving girl who fall in love, and they don't really like know about each other's feelings, and they're afraid to confess their feelings to each other. And I did like that aspect of the book, but like the writing style overall was just so annoying to me. The whole time it was nothing but like, it did not follow the show not tell rule at all. So it like did not trust the reader to know what the characters were feeling. It literally just told us all of their emotions outright instead of showing it, and it literally just told us everything about the world rather than showing it, and it was just so irritating. Like, do that once, fine, but do that throughout the entire book? No. And then also there was a little bit of very insensitive commentary in it as well. So there were things like, because this is a world in which homophobia does exist, and people would be weirded out if they found out that like the princess liked a girl and blah blah blah. So she says something along the line, she thinks something along the lines of she's annoyed at people like swarming all around her. So then if she thinks that if she says something about her feelings for a girl, that people won't want to be near her. And I, as a girl who likes girls, just reading that, I was like, ouch, dude. Like, ow, you really want to say it that way? Jeez. So it wasn't necessarily what was going on there, it's just the way it was phrased. It was really insensitive, and there were a few different instances of that where I literally was just reading it and going, ow, dude. Like, that felt like a dig at me and at like any other like ladies who like ladies. And so I literally was just like, no, dude, I don't even know. So the writing style is what really got me though. I just could not take any more of it. Past about 40%, I seriously was just like, no more of this crap. I am sorry. It was just so annoying. But anyway, those are the books that I read in the first half of June. Let me know if you read anything awesome so far this month, and if you've read any of these books that I've mentioned and have any thoughts on them. And I would love to see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye!